Hello, I'm Matthew from Rosie Rosie. We're investment property specialists, helping people invest in property with confidence. Today I'm going to be talking about how to invest in property and the process that we go through when we hold someone's hand through that process. Our ideal referrals are people who want to invest in property, people who have investment properties, or people who work with people who want to invest in property, like mortgage brokers, accountants and financial planners. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the presentation.
Today I thought what I would do is go through, in a very short space of time, the process that we go through when we're talking to someone who wants to invest in property. I've tried to keep it quite general, although it is rather specific to individuals, but hopefully by being general and broad, you might pick something up that will help you to perhaps introduce us to someone you know who needs our services or could do with our help. So what do we do? Investment property sales and property management. So most of you would know me as the property manager from the chapter until recently when I've changed to investment property sales consultant. It's a service that we've been offering since we started operating, but one that you might not be familiar with recently. So with property investing, we believe investing in property should be easy. We've broken down, I guess, what should be, what could be a complicated and overwhelming process into 4 steps: plan, prepare, invest and assess. And I'm going to go through those quickly today. So in an initial consultation with someone, we ask them a whole bunch of questions to try and understand who they are as an investor, because there are different types of investors and different types of properties that will suit different people. Some of the questions that we ask are: who are you, your age, occupation, marital status. Knowing those sort of things can help us understand how long they've got to achieve their goals. What do they want to achieve? A lot of people come to us and don't actually have solid goals. It could be that they want to grow their wealth, supplement their income, make better use of their taxes, make better use of their savings, make better use of their equity, provide security, or a combination of those things. What's their time frame? How long have they been looking, if they've already started? Have they invested before? Have they got experience in investing in property or any other type of investing? What's their appetite for risk? Do they have any concerns and fears? What are they? Their budget and affordability and any other considerations. It could be that they want to invest in a property that they eventually retire into, or something that their children might rent from them when they go to school or university. So understanding those sorts of things helps us to start to create their plan. Knowing that there are 4 major ways to make money from investing in property: rent return, capital growth, improvements to the dwelling, which is renovation and extensions, or improvements to the land, which is through subdivision and or knockdown and rebuilds. A lot of people come to us and they want to be a property developer, or they think they could be a renovator because they've watched The Block for 5 seasons. Most people find that those types of investing, while they're great goals to aspire to, not achievable for many people, and I'll go through some of those reasons now. So your typical investor, or 80% of investors, are basic, I call basic, buy and hold investors. Simply buying a property, putting a tenant in it and letting the capital growth in the area drive the value of that property, hopefully the rent return covering the majority of their outgoings. There's nothing wrong with that strategy. Renovators, making up 10% and increasing, and perhaps this might be consistent with what Joe sees, because of shows like The Block, more and more people are getting into renovation, and that's actually a very, very good way to make money through property, but with a big caveat: you do need to have some sort of experience or ability. And developers make up about 10%. These guys are more professional speculators who buy larger parcels of land with a view to subdivide and on-sell the land and or build multiple dwellings for profit. Huge amounts of risk compared to the other 2 preceding types of investors. So which one am I? There are 5 things to consider when determining which type of investor you are. Your goal, which we discussed after those questions earlier. Time. How much time do you have to achieve your goals? How much time do you have to look for the right investment? How much time do you have to make the improvements if it is a renovation or a a development. Money. How much money do I have, or how much money do I want to put into the investment? How much can I, or how much do I want to borrow if I'm borrowing funds? And can I afford the repayments with and without a tenant? Ability. So this is, do I have a trade background, or do I have any experience or abilities? Most of us can paint, but outside of that, unless you've got some sort of trade background or qualifications, you're really biting off potentially more than you can chew. You can get around that through project management. If you've got some sort of ability to manage other trades in the right order, you can get these things done quite quickly. And lastly, appetite for risk. What is your appetite for risk? And we ask people to put themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. 0 being you really don't like taking risks, and 10, you jumped out of a plane last week. What is your appetite for risk? And probably more importantly, what is your partner's appetite for risk? Because if you're not on the same page, it's often better to go with the person who's got the lower appetite for risk. Okay, so most people find that they're best suited to start with a basic buy and hold investment property. And if you want to talk specifics, then I'm happy to catch up with you to do a one-to-one. The next step in the process is prepare. So preparation is the first step towards acting on your plan. It's not as exciting as actually buying an investment property, but it's a very important step. So prior to purchasing an investment property, it's important to be sure that you're clear about how you plan on financing and structuring the finance of your purchase. John, who's not here, could talk to you at length about that, and I'd often introduce John to a client who needed to get pre-approval. But that is the next step, basically, is knowing how much you are able to borrow and how much you are comfortable borrowing. The bank might lend you $1 million, but you might only be comfortable borrowing $600,000. And knowing what the repayments are with and without a tenant, what happens if interest rates go up, and so on. So speak to your mortgage broker about getting pre-approval for an investment property. With your goal and your pre-approval in mind, we can then go into a property investment analysis, which is basically a simple report that we can do on a hypothetical investment property. It details the upfront costs involved in acquiring your property, the ongoing costs, and any applicable tax benefits. The question I'm often asked is, can you invest for the cost of a cup of coffee a day? The answer is yes, and I've left you with a handout there which explains that. If I've got time, I'll come back to that and run through it. The next step is invest. So at Rosie Rosie, we start our research with consideration to which markets represent the greatest potential for both capital growth and rental yield. Things that drive capital growth, think about what drives population growth. So things like jobs. Jobs are located generally where? In the capital cities. So staying close to capital cities or major cities with lots of jobs is a prudent way to invest. What public and private investment is happening in the area? Is the government spending money on new roads and bridges and tunnels, new schools, new hospitals, or upgrades to existing hospitals? Future occupants, who will rent and who will buy your property in years from now? Also school zones and lifestyle, another reason for population to grow towards a particular area. Within that chosen market, we then start to look at the property type itself. I think that's on my next slide. No. So the size of the dwelling, its street appeal, the age, the attractiveness to tenants and to your future buyers. And then once we have identified what we think is the right property for that client, we make sure that it fits in with the goals again, and we make sure that it fits in with the pre-approval that's in place, and we put it into our software, which gives you another one of those reports. So an actual holding cost analysis, which should give you the confidence to then take it off the market. And we hold your hand through that process as well, going through taking it off the market, signing contracts, getting formal finance approval, and settlement. And then obviously the property management side of the business kicks in to find you a quality tenant. Once your investment property is tenanted, it's a good idea to assess the performance on a regular basis. So we call it an IPPE, Investment Property Performance Evaluation, or health check, and we look at things that can improve the yield or the capital value of the property. We have a checklist, but some of the main improvements that you can make to a property to increase the value are here. Painting the interior or exterior, security, adding screen doors, secure fencing, sensor lights, gardening and landscaping, floor coverings, parking, etc., etc. These sorts of things help me to give more value to the room as well when I have clients who need these services and they're available. And that ensures that you're squeezing the most value out of the property at all times. And if you're looking to invest in multiple properties, you can go again sooner because you've got that value in your first one. So that's our process that we take people through in a very short amount of time. Hopefully it's helped you understand what we do in a bit more detail, but if you need more specific information, then I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.